Within the intricate hidden layers of your unconscious mind lies a secret discovery by Jung that determines whether you survive a predator's final assault or fall victim to their chaos. Most individuals wander through life entirely blind to this psychological mechanism, but ignoring it could cost you everything you hold dear. Jung proposed that once a manipulator realizes they can no longer bend your will, their departure is never peaceful. Instead, it becomes a calculated attempt at your total destruction. Before we expose the lethal maneuver Jung identified, you must grasp a vital truth about the narcissistic shadow that even professional clinicians frequently overlook. This is the moment where the hunter becomes the hunted, yet the weapons being used are purely mental. Jung taught that every person carries a shadow, those dark and buried traits we hide from the world. In his revolutionary research, he found that narcissists possess a lethal connection with this internal darkness. Everything you assumed about their control tactics is about to be turned upside down. The tragedy is that most victims only recognize the pattern when the trap has already snapped shut. Jung revealed that these individuals cast their own darkness onto those around them, seeing their own flaws mirrored in your eyes. But when they stumble upon a person who sees through the charade, someone who represents a genuine threat to their false reality, their psyche undergoes a terrifying transformation. Pay close attention, because this specific revelation is your shield against mental ruin. You are no longer just a target, you are a mirror they cannot bear to look into. According to Jungian theory, we all utilize a persona, a social mask for the external world. For a healthy person, it's just a tool for adaptation. However, Jung realized that for the narcissist, this mask is not a garment, it is their entire existence. To strip away a narcissist's mask is to threaten their very survival. When you witness their authentic nature, they don't retreat, they initiate a psychological crusade. Jung noted these individuals harbor a bloated ego, a fragile defense against massive waves of inner shame and worthlessness. He spoke of a specific brand of fury that most fail to comprehend. Understanding this reaction is the line between your liberation and permanent mental scarring. They are fighting for the only version of themselves they believe is allowed to exist. By becoming unmanageable, you essentially spark a total collapse of their mental framework. Jung classified this as a foundational crisis that evokes their most ancient, animalistic defenses. He mapped out 3 specific phases they cycle through when their influence over you evaporates. This is a systematic breakdown of a failing empire. Phase 1, the probing. Jung observed that they initially test the integrity of your mental walls. They are hunting for what he termed psychological fractures, vulnerabilities, where they can wedge their influence. If you hold firm against these early trials, you are immediately flagged as an enemy. Jung described this as psychological scouting. They are documenting your sensitivities and your survival instincts. They watch how you respond to small slights and minor boundary crossings to see where the stone is softest. What they plan next is truly chilling. Jung argued that when standard tricks fail, they pivot to compensatory aggression. They attempt to reclaim dominance by becoming exponentially more hostile. This is the dawn of what he labeled mental combat. They sharpen their tools of gaslighting and projection to a razor's edge. This stage is a high-stakes endurance test to see if your spirit will buckle under the sheer weight of their accusations. If you remain standing, Jung noted, they will often recruit external proxies, unwitting associates, who help carry out their agenda. This social strategy is remarkably cruel because it sets the stage for a third act that can shatter even the most resilient souls. They are no longer trying to win you back, they are trying to ensure no one else wants you either. Phase 3. The realization. This is the cornerstone of Jung's research. When it becomes undeniable that you are immune to their spells, they suffer narcissistic mortification. This is a psychic injury so profound it jeopardizes their sense of being. Consequently, they launch a final, desperate gambit that Jung warned was more toxic than any previous abuse. He discovered that when direct control fails, they execute psychic inversion. They shift the entire landscape of reality to make you doubt your own sanity. Jung saw this as shadow projection on a massive scale. It is dangerous because it leverages the collective unconscious, those shared mental patterns we all inherit. They play on the natural human urge to protect whoever looks like the victim. Jung's insights here are staggering. This isn't just a lie. It's psychic terrorism, meant to strip you of every friend and ally. The smear campaign is their way of managing the story once they've lost the person. They are experts at steering group dynamics. Jung found they have an instinct for archetypal imagery, universal themes that hit people in their subconscious. They cast themselves as the wounded innocent and you as the devouring monster. They start this process by faking concern, appearing pained or confused by your concerning behavior. A narcissist's fake vulnerability is a trap for the empathetic heart. This is a tactical move to gather soldiers for their war. Jung saw that they hunt for those with helper complexes, kind people whose desire to fix others blinds them to the predator in the room. Their ultimate goal is your total social exile. Jung knew that humans are tribal. We need community to thrive. By poisoning your connections one by one, they attempt to starve you of support. They use a method Jung identified as validity layering. They wrap a massive lie inside two undeniable truths, making the deception feel authentic to the listener. Your brain struggles to filter the poison out of the healthy meal. Jung saw that they project their internal shadow with terrifying force during this time. It allows them to dump their sins onto you while attacking your virtue. If they are the liars, they will scream that you are the dishonest one. This works through bias amplification. Once a seed of doubt is planted, the human mind starts looking for evidence to prove it, even where none exists. This inversion of truth is timed for maximum damage. Jung noted they wait for your moments of peak exhaustion or grief to strike. When your defenses are down, their false narrative feels more plausible. They don't just want you to doubt a memory, they want to induce reality erosion. They want you so lost in the fog that you stop believing in your own mind. They also weaponize social proof, manipulating your neighbors and colleagues to create a consensus of your instability. They exploit the compassion of good people and turn it into a blade. Jung called this character demolition. They don't just critique your mistakes, they rebrand your core strengths as fatal flaws. Your kindness becomes weakness. Your boundaries become hostility. Your success becomes vanity. Every light in you is described as a shadow. This leads into psychic torture, the intentional use of pain to force your surrender. It's calculated warfare aimed at finding your breaking point. Jung realized that intelligence doesn't protect you from this. In fact, smart people often struggle more because they try to find logic in a move that is purely primal. They get caught in cognitive overload. While you are busy analyzing the lies, your nervous system is being rewired through trauma attachment. This creates a drug-like addiction to the person causing the pain. Your brain starts seeing the abuser as the only one who can provide the relief you crave. It is a biological prison designed by an expert architect to keep you trapped. They manufacture false emergencies. These crises keep you in a reactive state, preventing you from ever forming a long-term plan for escape. Jung called this survival mode. But there are signals to watch for. The most obvious is manipulation acceleration, a sudden frantic spike in their attacks. This desperation shows they are losing. They are in a state of dominance panic. To fight back, Jung suggests psychic distancing. You must become the observer self. When you view their tantrums as mere psychological data points rather than personal attacks, they lose their leash on your soul. You are watching a storm from inside a reinforced glass room. Jung also advocated for reality anchoring. Keep records, write things down. Documentation is the antidote to the manufactured amnesia they try to induce. He believed that true healing requires shadow integration. You must accept that you have walked through the fire without letting the burns define your identity. Recovering from this ordeal leads to individuation, a state of being where your intuition and boundaries become unbreakable. You don't just survive, you evolve into a warrior who can spot a manipulator from miles away. This evolution is the one thing the narcissist cannot stop. Jung's final truth is the most powerful. Their influence only exists if you agree to play their game. Once you step out of their distorted theater, the actors have no power. They aren't the monsters they pretend to be. Jung saw them as terrified, hollow children hiding behind a massive, frightening puppet. They are paralyzed by their own internal void and the fear that someone will finally turn on the lights. Seeing this fragility is your final key to the exit. The fact that they are trying their most dirty trick is the ultimate sign that you have already won the battle. You are the one who is dangerous to them now because you carry the truth. You are free to live the authentic life that was always yours. Thank you for walking this path of shadow with me. If this resonated with you, please hit the like button and leave a comment for the Winds of Thought community. Your support keeps these deep dives possible. Furthermore, we must recognize that the narcissist's greatest fear is not just your departure, but your indifference. When you reach the state of individuation that Jung described, you no longer harbor the anger that keeps you tethered to their narrative. You become a person who is centered in their own reality, someone whose internal compass is no longer affected by the magnetic distortions of a manipulative personality. This is the ultimate stage of growth. It is a quiet, steady strength that radiates from within, making you entirely unmarketable to those who trade in deception and emotional debt. Consider the archetypal journey of the hero. In every myth Jung analyzed, the hero must descend into the underworld, the place of shadows, to retrieve a lost part of themselves. Your encounter with a narcissist is that descent. It is a brutal, exhausting confrontation with the darkest aspects of human nature, but the prize you bring back is your own sovereignty. You regain the ability to trust your own eyes, to honor your own boundaries, and to walk in the world with a sense of purpose that no one can undermine. You have faced the shadow and integrated the experience, emerging not as a victim, but as a person of profound psychological depth. The narcissist attempts to freeze you in time, to keep you locked in a moment of perpetual trauma where they are the central figure. But Jung's work shows us that the psyche is designed for movement, for growth, and for the constant pursuit of wholeness. By understanding these tactics, you break the stasis. You allow the natural flow of your life to resume. The smear campaigns, the gaslighting, and the projections are merely the dying gasps of a relationship that was never based on the reality of who you truly are. They were interacting with a projection, and now that you have stepped out of the frame, they have nothing left to hold on to. As you move forward, remember that your sensitivity is not a flaw. The narcissist targeted your empathy because it is a powerful force, one they lack and deeply envy. In the hands of a conscious person, empathy is a tool for connection and healing. In the hands of a manipulator, it is a vulnerability to be exploited. By integrating your shadow, you learn how to protect your empathy with a shield of discernment. You learn to give your heart only to those who have the capacity to cherish it, and you keep your inner sanctum guarded from those who only seek to colonize it. This path of healing is not a destination, but a continuous process of becoming. Each day you choose truth over the narcissist's lie. You are strengthening the foundations of your new life. You are building a world where authenticity is the highest value, and where the shadows of the past serve only to highlight the brilliance of your present. Carl Jung believed that the second half of life was intended for this very purpose, the shedding of the persona and the birth of the true self. Your struggle with manipulation has simply accelerated this process, forcing you to find your core much sooner than you might have otherwise. In the end, the narcissist is a tragic figure, trapped in a loop of their own making, forever fleeing the shame they cannot face. You, however, have the freedom to move, to change, and to shine. You have the power to create a legacy of resilience and wisdom. The darkness they tried to drown you in has become the soil from which your strength grows. You are the master of your own psychological domain. And as Jung so eloquently proved, the light of consciousness is the only thing that can truly dispel the shadows. Stand tall in your victory, for you have not only survived, you have transcended. Your journey continues now, unburdened and enlightened, into the bright horizon of your own making.